Hi everyone out there. In this video I will be comparing the life in Germany with the life in the United Arab Emirates, especially in Dubai. Why will I do this comparison at all? I've lived in both countries. In Germany I was a student at the start, then got employed and worked there for around 8 years, got also the German citizenship. And from the UAE perspective, I've been living here for around 1 year now, over 1 year, and I've been working here. So I will be giving my insights about both countries and also the main cities in these countries based on my personal experience. About myself, I've lived in 6 different countries throughout my life. Germany was one of them, the United Arab Emirates, and especially Dubai was the other one of them. And I hope I will add value if you are looking to move to Dubai from Germany, or if you are simply looking for a comparison between these two countries. So stay tuned, please push the like button, leave your comments, looking forward to see you. So to make it easy for ourselves, I will be comparing the two most expensive cities in both countries, Munich in Germany and Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. The advantage for me is that I lived in both, and I know how the living expenses and in general the living in these cities looks like. Start with the cost of living between both Germany and Dubai, specifically in the United Arab Emirates. So from Dubai perspective, what you will notice from the moment you leave the airport that the services are very cheap. So once you take the taxi within the city, you will be noticing that you will be driving, for example, from the airport to the marina. It will take you around 45 minutes. You'll pay 20 euros or 100 dirhams, which is very cheap compared to Munich, where you would have to pay around the 100 euros. So it is very affordable when it comes to services. And you will also start noticing, if you live in the country, that almost everyone here has a nanny, for example, for the kids, or a cleaner at home that helps with doing the services, and this is all very cheap. In Europe, that's not imaginable even to have these services. The second point is the cost of fuel in the UAE, because it is a country which produces oil. So you can imagine the cost of gas. If you go to the gas station and you have a car, you'll be very surprised how cheap gas is compared again to Europe. And also this reflects on the prices of cars, because they are also very cheap in this country. So that's why you see some people driving the Porsches and all these beautiful brands outside, because the cars are quite cheap when compared to other regions of the world. Now let's talk about Munich, about Germany. Where Germany scores most of the points is the groceries. So if you are doing groceries in Germany, the prices are quite low. Now I know there is the inflation going on, the prices are going high, but still Germany is very cheap when it comes to groceries. And also in the most expensive cities such as Munich, the groceries are still at a very low price, because the country produces what it eats. In the UAE, in contrast, only 10% of what's sold in the grocery stores comes from the country itself. So you can see here the imbalance in the pricing of their groceries. The next point are the European brands. So of course, when you go shopping for clothes and in general shopping for any brands, most of them either come from Europe or the United States, although the production may be in any part of the world. And this makes them in Europe less expensive, more cheap than in the UAE. And you will directly notice it once you enter any shop in the Dubai Mall, for example, or any malls or any shops in Dubai. You will directly notice that the prices are slightly higher, or sometimes they are really higher than what you're used to in Europe or in other parts of the world. And here I'm talking more about the brands themselves. Yeah. So we notice it directly when my wife shops from Zara, for example, or from H&M. All these stores, really, when you look at the bill, you see that back then when we were in Munich, we were spending less although we were buying almost the same amount or more. So it's really noticeable with time, yeah. And on the third point, it is the pharmacy. So all the chemical products that you may buy, for example, the cosmetics and everything related to medicaments and all this. This is quite expensive in the United Arab Emirates, especially in Dubai, because it is again imported, while in Germany it is produced within the country. So that's again a positive point, where you will be spending less in Germany compared to the United Arab Emirates. And also in the two most expensive cities, in Munich you will be also spending less on cosmetics, pharmaceuticals and so on. In Dubai you will have to allocate a budget for it. Now let's have a look at the accommodation. In Dubai, you will be surprised that it is quite easy to find an apartment, especially if you're coming from Europe, from one of the cities which is where you need to search really for a long time for an apartment. Here in Dubai, it is very, very straightforward because there is a lot of supply. So the supply is more than the demand, and there is a reason also behind it. It is a very dynamic city, so some people are leaving, some people are staying, and in general you start seeing a trend that the people don't stay in one apartment or in one house for a very long time, which reflects then on the market, real estate market in general. So you have really a good chance to find an apartment in 1 or 2 weeks time before you move out of your old apartment, or once you move in to Dubai. What is important is to have all your documents, so to have your Emirates ID and to have your bank account sorted out, because the payments happens in check, and that's where you need to show them the checks and show them that you have the bank account and so on. So that's like the security for the owner of the apartment. What you will also notice, and it was also a surprise for me personally, the apartments themselves are really huge from my perspective. So they are really big from the size. So for what you get and what you pay, it is really a very good, let's say, balance between the square foot or square meter number and the payment, the amount that you have to pay. So that's a really good advantage of Dubai when comparing to Europe in general, and especially in Munich in Germany. Now in Germany, specifically in Munich, as you may know, there is a shortage of apartments. I think that's a problem even Europe-wide, not only for Munich or for Germany, which means that the prices are quite high, and also the sizes of the flats are really small. So it is really not comparable to what you will get in the UAE for the same price. Of course, it depends on the area, luxury level, and so how old is the building. And now when we're talking about how old is the building, so that's a major advantage of Germany, the German quality of the building. So here in Dubai, if a building is 10 years old, it is really old, yeah, and you start seeing it also from the facilities perspective that the building is old. In Germany, I've lived in buildings that were built in the 60s, and you still feel that it is somehow modern. It is still really in a very good shape, and you feel comfortable in it. So that's really one of the main differences here, and which really surprised me personally when I saw the 10 years quality of Dubai and let's say 40, 60 years old quality of Germany. So very positive point for Munich. And also, I was mentioning before the checks that you have to show. So you have to sort out your bank account and the Emirates ID to get an apartment in Dubai, which means that you have to pay with checks still your deposit and also your rent. That's now not the case in Germany, because you will be paying only in 12 months. So each month you will be paying your rent like you're used to it. In the UAE, it may be that you will pay only one check. So once in a year you will pay your rent for the whole year. or you can divide it into 4 checks and so on. So it's really quite a different system. I've tried both, to be honest with you. So the first apartment we've got here in Dubai, we paid it in one chunk for 1 year, and you just have it gone, so you don't think about it for the whole 12 months. The problem with this system is that you will feel it. It is painful to pay big amount of money at one shot, and the German system, it is standard. You pay each month the rent and done. So it is more convenient for the tenants and so on. And also from protection perspective of the tenants, it is way more advanced in Germany, because there are the laws, the rules that been here that have been implemented for really long times, and they are more on the tenant side than on the landlord side, which is quite different in the UAE, because here it is more the landlord is an advantage when compared to the tenants. So really complete different mindsets and two different worlds when it comes to renting apartments, renting house, buying apartments, even buying houses. So yeah. Let's jump to health insurance. It is again one of the surprises I had here in Dubai, because the health insurance system in general is very well established. It is very convenient for everyone. The thing about it is private, which means usually your company will be sponsoring it. If it is not your company that will sponsor your health insurance, be prepared to pay a considerable amount for that. But usually in what I've saw, all the companies here, or most of them, will offer you health insurance included, and usually good packages of health insurance, which also translates into good services that you will get in the hospitals, at the doctors, and so on. So, which brings me to the next point about the hospitals and the doctors. In Dubai, it is very flexible. If you want to go to the doctor, you may get even an appointment on the same day, which is not imaginable in the European countries, because there is a lack of doctors over there, and usually you will have to wait for 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks to get an appointment with a doctor. If you look also at the doctors that are practicing in Dubai, you will be surprised how many nationalities you will find. I'm pretty sure you will almost find any nationalities that you have out there in the world practicing in Dubai. For me, the surprise was how many German doctors are over here, but also there are the French. So any nationalities, you will be able to find it over here, also in the healthcare system. And from hospitals' perspective, from my own experience, it is really, really well equipped. The hospitals over here, I've never had any bad experience. If you go there for consultations and so on, you will be directly accommodated. And also, there are some newly built hospital over here that almost looks like 5-star hotels and so on, which is quite impressive. So the investment over there is really paying off, and that's a very positive point that Dubai can be proud of. Now, if we look at the German side, especially in Munich, the doctors are world class, the best in the world. So they will treat you like with care, and you will feel that you are exposed to the latest technology, which is one of the major points why people from outside of Germany move into Germany to get treated. And it is really, really one of the best healthcare systems of the world. The only downturn, which I mentioned before, is getting appointments with the doctors, because there is a lack of doctors right now, and it would take a couple of weeks to get your appointment done, unless you have some emergencies where you can go directly to the hospital, or the doctors would take then the time for you to treat you and so on. So from insurance perspective, Germany has also one of the best insurance systems in the world. It is like a public insurance, which everyone who's living in the country is enrolled into it, and also it is mandatory actually. So you will not get your residence permit in Germany if you are not insured. So you have to register to it. Usually if you are working, an amount will get deducted from you for the social insurance, and that's also part of it is the health insurance. So yeah, everyone is health insured, everyone have access to the doctors, everyone have access to the hospitals, and of course you can top it and go for the private insurance where you will be paying a bit more and get even better service. So I was speaking before about the appointments, how hard it is to get appointments at the doctors, but they usually also like favor the private insurance clients because yeah, they get more money from the private insurances. So that's the reason also why people move to the private insurance, get this additional service of getting quicker appointments and also upgrades at the hospitals. So yeah, it is quite an established health system. The only downfall about it could be it's still not known how sustainable it is for the future, because now as the workforce starts aging and more people, so mostly the baby boomers are going into their retirement, it will get very tight for the German insurance, especially the public ones, to finance themselves, yeah, because there are the new generation who is somehow declining, and you have a lot of people in retirement, and you need to sponsor these people going into retirement with the new generation going up. So it is something to keep an eye on, and for me personally, I hope it will be sustainable, and I hope there will be solutions in the future to make it work even going forward, because it's one of the best insurance systems I've ever seen in my life. Now it's the turn of transportation. So in Dubai there is a public transportation system which consists of one metro line and also of one tram. Of course there are also the buses, a big bus network, and it is being used heavily by the workforce and the population of Dubai. But still, the city is more reliant on cars, and there is a reason behind it, which is the metro as such. So there is only one line which does not cover the whole Dubai, and to go to certain areas you would always need to take your car or also the taxis. So if you're living in a certain area, it may be that you will have to take the taxi to a bus stop, and then from the bus stop take the bus to the metro station, and then so you start seeing it gets very complicated. That's why the people prefer to own their own car and also travel with their own cars. And so as a fact, Dubai is the biggest city with cars per capita. So I think it is around 2 to 3 cars per person in Dubai, which is nowhere else like this in the world. So yeah, and there is now more projects coming up for the public transportation. So there is a train line which is being built between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and also a train which will connect all the 9 states within the United Arab Emirates. So there are projects and it is being worked on. Now if we compare it to Germany and specifically Munich, but even overall in Germany, the public transportation is really world class, really one of the best in the world, and very punctual. So you can really connect different parts of the cities, even the small villages outside of the cities gets connected to the center of the city, which is really beneficial for anyone living outside and inside. In Munich itself, you've got multiple lines of the metro underground. You've got also the trains which are called the S-Bahn, the Schnellbahn, which means the rapid trains above the surface, and they connect really the different areas. So really great network, really great infrastructure, and of course the Autobahn from infrastructure perspective is very well known worldwide, not only because you can drive without speed, but it is one of the really best infrastructures, one of the best roads built on this planet that I have ever seen, and I love driving on the Autobahn. Here in Dubai you have also similar infrastructure, so you have like 7 lanes on the highway, and the only downturn about driving in Dubai when I compare it to Munich and to Germany in general, it is how chaotic it is on the road. So you will be you need to be very attentive. You need to drive for yourself and for the others, because it's not the way you would have it in Munich in Germany, because there it's very structured, and also the exams and so on to get your driver's permit and how they teach you how to drive is completely a different story. It's really another planet in Germany. So yeah, that's one thing I really miss about Germany, is really driving over there and also taking the public transportation to the city. Talk about how clean the public transportation is. So what I've noticed here in Dubai, it is very well maintained, it is very clean. Eating and drinking is not allowed on the train, which makes really a major difference compared to Germany, where it is clean compared to, especially Munich, compared to other cities in Europe, but still it's not the level of Dubai. And so I mentioned this before also, that the trains in Germany are very punctual, but still here in Dubai I would say they are even more punctual, because also of the complexity in Germany I was mentioning. So you have multiple train lines within the same city, which makes it more difficult to really coordinate all of them and ensure that all of them are really on time. Here in Dubai you only have this one metro line, you only have one tram, which makes it a bit easier to control how you any inconveniences and so on, and makes it even less likely, because it is only this one train that is automatic, by the way, also. So very unlikely to have any types of accidents or any types of delays and so on. So yeah, that's a positive point for Dubai, but also on the German side, on the Munich side, really great infrastructure. Both countries score the same here. Now, when we talk about the costs, of course the UAE is way cheaper than Munich, and again it is this one metro line, one tram, and the main factor is the power generation, which is way more cheaper in the United Arab Emirates, especially in Dubai also, compared to Munich, because the oil is getting produced in country and it is then used to generate the power, which makes everything then cheaper compared to Europe. Let's speak about languages. In Dubai, the most spoken languages, surprisingly, is English. The reason being, the proportion of the population which comes from outside of the United Arab Emirates is really huge. So in Dubai you've got a lot of expats, and they also communicate with the English language, which makes it almost very uncommon to speak the local language. So it's only the people who are born here, not even the people who are born here, the people who are from here, who can speak the language, and also of course expats from other Arab countries. But in general, everyone here speaks English to you. So if you know how to speak English, you're fine. There are of course a lot of communities. So you've got a big Indian community, big Pakistani community, and the Arab community, of course. All of them speak their languages within each other, but to communicate between each of these communities and in general and the working culture, English is spoken. For me personally, I can speak Arabic, and I use it very rarely in business context or in my private life. Only with my Arab colleagues, I sometimes chat in Arabic, but even with them, we speak mostly in English. So that's a very surprising fact about Dubai, that it is that international, and also that English is really the main language here. Now, if you look at Germany, if you are in Munich, which is an international city, you will be good off with English, so everyone will be able to understand you, everyone is educated, you've got a big international community living there. and you will not have any problem, especially if you are there for a short time. Now, if you start looking to settle down in Munich, I would really give you the advice to learn German. Even at a very basic level, the Germans are very supportive once you start talking to them in German and they see that you are not that comfortable with it. Either they will switch automatically to English, or they will start talking to you either slowly or trying different words, easier words for you to understand. So it is really a convenient experience if you are looking to learn a new language. And also if you are living outside of the main city, I would really advise you to learn the language, because it is normal in any country. If you start going outside of the metropoles and the international cities, you would have then the people who are like native speakers and know less English. So you'd be better off if you learn the language, and it will help you integrate within then the small communities. And also it will open the door if you're looking for cheaper accommodations and so on. It will open this door for you so that you can settle outside of the downtown of Munich. If we continue to speak about German, how I've learned it myself, the language, to a level which is almost native speaker level, really it is staying like just keep on top of it, which means keep learning it. If you speak to the people and they answer in English, tell them, please, no, I want to talk German to you. And in the workplace, just speak German, avoid English, and that's how you will learn it. And of course you start watching the news in German, you start hearing the radio in German. Just integrate German in each aspect of your life, and you will be very surprised how quick you can pick up a language. And for me, it took me around 2 years to become really fluent. And I mean, with fluent, I was able then to hold meetings completely in German, and especially understand everything. That's the main part, to understand what the other person is saying to you, and also then being able to respond back with the basic German. And with time, you'll start building the vocabulary, the grammar on top of it. You can do some night courses and learn the language furthermore. And it was really a very successful journey, especially the level of investment that Germans themselves put in the people who are living there. So they are very welcoming, and this is really an overwhelming feeling for me, because they really gave me the opportunity to learn the language and integrate their society to a point where I was training kids football, training kids there how to play football and so on, and or in the German language, although I was with a big accent out there, but I was able to learn the language at the end of the day. So really great experience. Just do it, and don't close the door, because it's a really, it will open for you really wonderful opportunities in Germany. Thanks for staying that long. I hope you enjoyed all the information. So I tried to cover everything related to starting in Dubai and also in Munich. Everything related to really the cost of living, finding apartments, and so on. This was the first part. The second part will be also coming soon, so stay tuned. Please subscribe to my channel to get the notification about that. The second part will be about all the aspects of the social life, like making friends, also the nature, the weather in both countries. And I will also add some bonus when you're starting in these two countries, but to really make sure you have covered. And of course, I will be rating the countries, and based on the both videos that we've done, I will be telling you who wins. So stay tuned until the end, and hope to see you in the next video. Hope to see your likes, your subscribes, and don't forget to leave your comments. Stay tuned. Bye bye.